Tasting like a boss. How are you guys doing? I'm enjoying this beautiful, beautiful Florida day. Not a cloud in the sky. You can hear the birds chirping. I'm definitely going to go for a walk. It's not too hot yet. Hopefully it won't get too hot. Maybe even jump on the bike. Why not? Sure, I got some chores to do inside the house, but we can do that a little bit later today. And maybe when it gets hot, I can be inside and do the chores. But just really having a nice relaxing Sunday, which I hope you are too. And I wanted to share this review with you guys on this lovely day. So I'm reviewing two items from Liquid Death sparkling water. One is Rootbeer Wrath, here you go. And the other one is Dr. Death. So obviously what we're dealing with is a root beer flavored sparkling water and a Dr. Pepper inspired sparkling water. Now, I did do a review of what's called Killer Cola, which I think is part of the same line. I did it as a reel. I really wish I had done it in this review. It would have been great to see them all side by side, but I will say if you want to go look at that reel, you can. It's very short. The gist of it is that it doesn't really taste like Coca-Cola. It doesn't taste like Pepsi. It tastes as if it's inspired by it. It seems like it's its own thing, and it's fine. Now, all of these items actually have some calories to them. There's 10 calories in each one of them. So it is going to have more calories than, let's say, your Diet Pepsi or your Coke Zero. And where you're getting it is it's got 2 grams of carbs, and it comes from some 2 grams of added sugar. And that may bother some people, but it is what it is. This isn't going to be like my go-to drink. I usually like just having sparkling water that's unflavored. Sometimes just water itself, but usually the sparkling water. And if it is flavored, it's LaCroix flavored, right? Where it's like someone just breathed, the taste on it. I don't like things that are overly sweet. So these are carbonated water, agave nectar, citric acid, natural flavor, stevia leaf extract, and that's it. They both say the same because, what's really flavoring them is just going to be in the natural flavors, and they're not going to give that away. So let's get down to the tasting. Each one of these, I think, says the exact same thing. This ruthless can of flavored sparkling water has a twisted plan to use natural agave and exploding bubbles to murder your thirst and recycle your soul. Now, I will tell you, they're not cheap. A box of 6 costs about $7, more than your typical sparkling water. But I like root beer, and I do like Dr. Pepper. Let's move to the root beer first. Root beer Wrath. I really think they should have called it root beer Wraith. Put that I in there. Make it cool. Throw back to that 80s car movie, The Wraith, with Charlie Sheen in it. The perfect movie, right? I'm only pouring it into a little cup here because I wanted you to see it is clear. It's not colored. So it's like throwing back to Crystal Pepsi. I guess this is Crystal Root Beer. So Liquid Death, Root Beer Wrath, tasting like a boss. Okay, well, it's very different than the Killer Cola. This does taste like root beer. It tastes like root beer in the heart of the tasting. So in the beginning, you get that sweetness, then you get this root beer flavor, and then you kind of left at the end with like something that's sweet with stevia. It tastes lighter than root beer. It doesn't taste as syrupy. Quite frankly, more refreshing. I mean, it does taste as advertised. It tastes like root beer. That's pretty good. But, I like root beer. If you don't like root beer, I said, but if you're a kid who liked root beer like I did, and you feel like you just can't just pop open a root beer and just have a root beer, and you want something that tastes like it, is refreshing, that really does work. Okay, let's move over to the Dr. Pepper inspired Dr. Death. Name, perfect. Have no notes. Here we go. Again, clear. All right. Tasting like a boss. Same thing. I mean, it tastes more like a Diet Dr. Pepper. It's a little more chemically tasting. What's interesting for both of these is that they actually smell like what they are. Like, as you give that a little scent, it does smell like root beer cream soda. And you know, a lot of taste comes from scent, so that makes sense. And as you approach the Dr. Death, you get that little hint of Dr. Pepper, but it does smell just like the taste. It does smell a little more chemically than the root beer. So between the two of them, I think they're both successes, even more than the Killer Cola. The Dr. Death does indeed make me think of Dr. Pepper. But if I'm picking between the two, I think I'm going with the root beer. And not just because I prefer root beer. I think the root beer tastes more natural. It seems more refreshing. Doesn't have as much of a chemical end. Instead, it just has that stevia taste. Here, there's a little bit of a chemical taste. But they're both really good. So for all three of these are actually quite good. Again, not going to be my go-to drink all the time. But if I really do want a soda, which doesn't happen a lot, but if I really do want a soda, especially the root beer, that might be my replacement. Because, you know, getting to my age, just popping up a root beer just to have it, it's gotten to a point where it's too sweet for me. And it feels heavy. It just feels heavy on me. So there you go. All right. Well, hey, that was pretty cool. So we have a coffee review coming up a little bit later today, too. It'll need a costume change for it. But it was from a very loyal subscriber who requested it, and it is a Bones coffee flavor. So there you go. And until next time, hit like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for going on this taste journey with me and helping me to murder my thirst. And until next time, people, put your comments down below and keep tasting like a boss. Thanks so much.